This is Africa, the cradle of mankind's birth, where powerful kingdoms arose with stories of worth, exemplary leaders, their legacy told. Nkrumah, Mandela, their spirits bold, let courage and dreams unite as one for a brighter tomorrow where greatness is spun. In this beautiful, colorful, and friendly domain, greatness awaits, where hopes shall not wane, where tales of triumph weave a tapestry. Welcome to Today in African History. December 8th, Sammy Davis Jr., pictured here, was born on this day in the year 1925. He was born in Beverly Hills, California, United States of America. Full name, Samuel George Davis Jr., was an American singer, musician, dancer, actor, vaudevillian, and comedian. He was noted for his impressions of actors, musicians, and other celebrities. At the age of 3, Davis began his career in vaudeville with his father, Sammy Davis Sr., and the Bill Mastin Trio, which toured nationally. After military service, Davis returned to the trio. Davis became an overnight sensation following a nightclub performance at Ciro's in West Hollywood after the 1951 Academy Awards. With the trio, he became a recording artist. In 1954, he lost his left eye in a car accident, and several years later, he converted to Judaism, finding commonalities between the oppression experienced by African American and Jewish communities. Davis's film career began as a child in 1933. In 1960, he appeared in the Rat Pack film Ocean's 11. After a starring role on Broadway in Mr. Wonderful, which was released in 1956, he returned to the stage in 1964's Golden Boy. In 1966, he had his own TV variety show titled The Sammy Davis Jr. Show. Davis's career slowed in the late 1960s, but he had a hit record with The Candyman in 1972 and became a star in Las Vegas, earning him the nickname Mr. Show Business. Davis was a victim of racism throughout his life, particularly during the pre-civil rights era, and was a large financial supporter of the civil rights movement. Davis had a complex relationship with the Black community and drew criticism after publicly supporting President Richard Nixon in 1972. After reuniting with Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin in 1987, Davis toured with them and Liza Minnelli internationally before his death from throat cancer in 1990 at the age of 64. He died in debt to the Internal Revenue Service, and his estate was the subject of legal battles. Davis was awarded the Springham Medal by the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People and was nominated for a Golden Globe Award and an Emmy Award for his television performances. He was the recipient of the Kennedy Center Honors in 1987, and in 2001, he was posthumously awarded the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. In 2017, he was inducted into the Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame for being the great entertainer in the world, said founder Lamont Showboat Robinson. Now, about his early life, Davis learned to dance from his father and his uncle, Mel Mastin, now uncle in inverted commas. Davis joined the act as a child and they became the Mel Mastin Trio. Throughout his career, Davis included the Mel Mastin Trio in his billing. Mastin and his father shielded him from racism, such as by explaining race-based snobs as jealousy. However, when Davis served in the United States Army during World War II, he was confronted by strong prejudice. At the age of 7, Davis played the title role in the film Rufus Jones for President, in which he sang and danced with Ethel Waters. He lived for several years in Boston's South End and reminisced years later about hoofing and singing at Easy Oats Bar and Grill. During service in World War II, the Army assigned Davis to an integrated entertainment special services unit, and he found that the spotlight lessened the prejudice. Even prejudiced white men admired and respected his performances. He says, "My talent was the weapon, the power, the way for me to fight. It was the only way I might hope to affect a man's thinking," he said. After his discharge, Davis rejoined the Family Dance Act, which played at clubs around Portland, Oregon. He also recorded blues songs for Capitol Records in 1949 under the pseudonyms Shorty Muggins and Charlie Green. In 1959, Davis became a member of the famous Rat Pack, led by his friend Frank Sinatra, which included fellow performers Dean Martin, Joey Bishop, and Peter Lawford, a brother-in-law of John F. Kennedy. Initially, Sinatra called the gathering the Klan, but Davis voiced his opposition, saying that it reminded people of the Ku Klux Klan. Sinatra renamed the group the Summit. One long night of poker that went on into the early morning saw the men drunken and disheveled. As Angie Dickinson approached the group, he said, "You all look like a pack of rats." The nickname caught on, and they were called the Rat Pack, the name of its earlier incarnation, led by Humphrey Bogart and Laurent Bacall, who originally made the remark of the pack of rats about the group around her husband, Bogart. Davis was a headliner at the Frontier Casino in Las Vegas. He was required, as were all black performers in the 1950s, to lodge in a rooming house on the west side of the city, instead of in the hostels as his white colleagues did. No dressing rooms were provided for black performers, and they had to wait outside by the swimming pool between acts. Davis and other black artists could entertain but could not stay at the hotels where they performed, gamble in the casinos, or dine or drink in the hotel, restaurants, and bars. Davis later refused to work at places which practiced racial segregation. In 1964, Davis was starring in Golden Boy at night and shooting his own New York-based afternoon talk show during the day. When he could get a day off from the theater, he recorded songs in the studio, performed at charity events in Chicago, Miami, or Las Vegas, or appeared on television variety specials in Los Angeles. Davis felt he was cheating his family of his company, but he said he was incapable of standing still. Although he was still popular in Las Vegas, he saw his musical career decline by the late 1960s. He had a number 11 hit, which was number 1 on the easy listening singles chart with "I've Got to Be Me" in 1969. He signed with Motown to update his sound and appeal to young people. His deal to have his own label with the company fell through. He had an unexpected number 1 hit with "The Candyman" with MGM Records in 1972. He did not particularly care for the song and was chagrined that he had become known for it. But Davis made the most of his opportunity and revitalized his career. Even though he enjoyed no more top 40 hits, he did enjoy popularity with his 1976 performance of the theme song from the Barretta television series. Barretta's theme, Keep Your Eye on the Sparrow, which ran from 1975 to 1978, which was released as a single by 20th Century Records. He appeared on the television shows The Rifleman, I Dream of Jeannie, All in the Family, during which he famously kisses Archie Bunker, who is Carol O'Connor, on the cheek, and Charlie's Angels with his wife, Altovis Davis. He appeared in Japanese commercials for Suntory whiskey in the 1970s. Davis had a friendship with Elvis Presley in the late 1960s, as they both were top draw acts in Vegas at the same time. Davis was in many ways just as reclusive during his hotel gigs as Elvis was, holding parties mainly in his penthouse suite, with Elvis occasionally attended. Davis sang a version of Presley's song In the Ghetto and made a cameo appearance in Presley's concert film Elvis. That's the way it is. 1 year later, he made a cameo appearance in the James Bond film Diamonds Are Forever, but the scene was cut. In Japan, Davis appeared in television commercials for coffee, and in the United States, he joined Sinatra and Martin in a radio commercial for a Chicago car dealership. On the 27th of May to the 28th of May 1973, Davis hosted with Monty Hall the first annual 20-hour Highway Safety Foundation telethon. Guests included Muhammad Ali, Paul Anka, Jack Berry, Dr. Joyce Brothers, Ray Charles, Dick Clark, Roy Clark, Howard Cosell, Ozzie Davis, Ruby Dee, Joe Franklin, Cliff Gorman, Richie Havens, Danny Kaye, Jerry Lewis, Hal Linden, Rich Little, Butterfly McQueen, Minnie Pearl, Boots Randolph, Tex Ritter, Phil Rizzuto, The Rockettes, Nipsey Russell, Sally Struthers, Mel Tillis, Ben Virin, and Lawrence Welk. It was a financial disaster. The total amount of pledges was $1.2 million. Actual pledges received were $525,000. In August of 1989, Davis began to develop symptoms, a tickle in his throat, and inability to taste food. Doctors found a cancerous tumor in Davis's throat. He had often smoked 4 packs of cigarettes a day as an adult. When told that surgery, laryngectomy, offered him the best chance of survival, Davis replied he would rather keep his voice than have a part of his throat removed. He was treated with a combination of chemotherapy and radiation. His larynx was removed during surgery. He was released from the hospital on the 13th of March, 1990. Sadly, Sammy Davis Jr. died of complications from throat cancer 2 months later at his home in Beverly Hills, California, on the 16th of May, 1990, at the age of 64. He was interred in the Forest Lawn Memorial Park. On May 18th, 1990, 2 days after his death, the neon lights of the Las Vegas Strip were darkened for 10 minutes as a tribute. What a life, what a man.